Welcome to the Power Coast Girls podcast. We're your hosts, Jess
and Domy.
We're here to bring you authentic and raw conversations about faith, relationships, and personal growth. Whether you're a believer, a curious skeptic, or somewhere in between, we're here for you.
So grab your headphones,
your coffee,
or tea,
and get ready to be empowered. We are back.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
It's been 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
The red flags and green flags really took us out. No, I'm just kidding.
We needed a 2-week break.
No, we've
been talking.
Yeah, we've
and feeling.
Yeah, we've honestly been so busy though. Like, this girl's like had a lot of school work, and then I've had
things out.
Right. I've been balancing 3 different jobs.
So you went to Texas.
I went back home. It's been a lot.
I had people messaging me being like, "Are you guys okay?"
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We're like, yeah, we're just we're busy human beings.
Someone was like, "Are you guys gonna do another podcast episode?"
No, it's Wednesday and I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Did it upload properly? I was like, no, we didn't upload.
Because we don't have anything.
Thanks though. Appreciate it.
But no, so anyways, we're back, and today we have something that I think is gonna be really fun, like just like topic, especially for people who share our ethnicities. So yeah, I don't even know what we're gonna title this. We'll figure it out later. But
just like stereotypes and things that were like, stereotypes of our cultures.
Right.
Because as like we were covering dating in the last, or like topics of dating in the last few episodes and stuff, like there would be some things I would say and Jess would be like, oh, that's kind of similar, or like, oh no, that's so like different than what we would do.
Yeah. So
we're just like, oh, that would actually be a really cool like podcast topic, just to like talk about the similarities and differences and just like,
right,
some things that we were used to growing up.
Well, also too, like, the more that like we, like when we first met each other and stuff, we're like, oh wow, like we have a lot of similarities. And I haven't really been around a lot of Middle Easterns like growing up, but I was telling her this, and I'm share this with like different friends and stuff too. Like, it's so funny because like ever since I moved here, people don't assume that I'm Hispanic, and so they'll assume that I'm Middle Eastern. And I'm like, I never used to get this back home, and because I feel like there's not as many Middle Easterns in Texas. I mean, I'm sure they're there, but like at least where I grew up. So yeah, it's very interesting, and it's like, it's just fun because as we've learned more, like our cultures are very similar. There's obviously some differences, which we'll talk about today. But yeah, let's get into it. So
you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we asked some of our friends and family to submit some stereotypes about our culture, which, I am, for those of you who don't know, like I am Mexican American, also Spanish. So I think it was like my great grandpa on actually both sides of my mom's side and my dad's side. Someone on both sides was from Spain. But like my dad is from Mexico. Shout out to Chihuahua, Mexico. and then my mom, she's from Texas, and my grandparents from Texas, but they have like Mexican like descent.
What'd you call them? Tex-Mex?
Tex-Mex, or we call like each other like Chicano. We're all very Chicano. So if anyone knows who, and I'm sure like obviously a lot of Hispanics are like Selena, Quintanilla. She's actually from where my mom is from, Corpus Christi, Texas, and it's the south of Texas. It's very Tex-Mex, like what Demi just said. So I grew up speaking Spanglish, okay? So yeah, that's something we'll talk about later today. But like, I grew up speaking Spanglish, so I didn't speak fluent Spanish, even though my dad was from Mexico. So that's my culture. Why do I say like that?
Culture.
What was yours?
Oh, okay. So yes, I was born in Istanbul, like Turkey. But both my parents are from Iraq. So my dad is Assyrian and my mom is Chaldean.
But then she grew up in Canada.
I was born in Turkey, and then moved to Canada when I was 3. And now at the age of 28, I live in the States. And it confuses a lot of people. So I think this would also be a good opportunity to provide a little history lesson, because I know with all the other podcasts that we were uploading, I had a lot of my Assyrian and Chaldean friends message and be like, why are you putting the hashtags of Arab? You're not an Arab. You're an Assyrian. You have to stick to your heritage. And I was like, okay, honestly, I'll give that to them. So Assyrians, we used to basically run the world. We were an empire. So it was Wow. Did you hear me?
She's just very excited.
Wow, so excited. It was the Empire of Assyria, and that was like the north part of Iraq. And then there was Babylonia, Empire of Babylonia, which is the bottom part of Iraq. And basically they used to be a lot in like power and control. Libraries and a bunch of other things came from us. But yeah, there's a lot of history about us in the Bible. And basically we don't have a country that we identify with. We were dispersed after the Arabs kind of came and took over. So yeah, there's a bunch of Assyrians and Chaldeans in Iraq and Syria and
it's very
Jordan.
Interesting because even I didn't know. I was very confused as to like, well, and what's the other one? It's like Assyrian, but then Syrian.
Yeah, people are always like, so you're Syrian? And it's like, no, that's Syria. Like that's a different country. But Assyrians speak Aramaic, which is what Jesus spoke. So yeah, I actually speak English, obviously Arabic, because my mom was raised speaking Arabic, and both my parents lived in Iraq. And I was raised speaking Aramaic, which is actually my stronger language than my Arabic, but I will still know how to speak Arabic, and I will understand the majority of dialects, but speaking it is not as quick as my Assyrian is or my Aramaic.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Like when I first met her, I was like a Canadian who's Iraqi, but then she was like born in Turkey, and like
I have these other ethnicities to me.
Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, because for me, it's like straight up just like if you were to look at, I took one of those like DNA tests, straight up Mexican and Spanish.
I need to take one.
I
want to know.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
I wonder yours might like mine obviously was very like half.
Straightforward?
Yeah, I think I had a little bit of Portuguese, which makes sense because like Spain is so close to Portugal. But yeah, for you, I feel like it might be more of like a little pie, like pie chart. Like you might have different areas. So
I don't know. I don't want the government knowing my information as if they know already.
I know. Now I'm contemplating why I did that.
Yeah, I don't care. No, I'll get it done. Maybe I'll ask for my birthday this year. Ooh, Mom, Dad, if you're listening.
Okay, so here are some of the stereotypes the responses that we received about some stereotypes about Latinos in general. We had to shake hands and kiss everyone we met or we were rude. I'm almost there equals I just left. That is so true.
Oh my God, that is so true.
That is so true.
I'm so true.
I'm late all the time. You know, it's funny. We had posted a video the other day about like being like late, and like I'm always a late friend. She's always on time. And one of my cousins actually replied back to the story or to the reel or whatever, and she was like, "But it's the Estrada way. Like we can't break the tradition.
You have to be late." We'll have plans at like 5:45, so I'm gonna leave at 5:45. I'm like,
I know it's so bad, but it's a cultural thing. Okay?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, we all have that one tia. Tia is like aunt. Yeah, so it's so funny because we all have that one tia. I guess what my friend meant by that is just like there's always that one family member who's probably a little crazy, and that you may want to. Honestly, though, I don't even know if it's a tia. It might be like more like a tío. Like there's at least some crazy tíos in my family. No one sounds like Speedy Gonzalez or Nacho Libre.
I don't get that.
Wait, you don't know who Speedy Gonzalez is?
No.
Okay, I'll show you later. He's like a Looney Tunes character, I think, and he sounds like he sounds so Mexican.
Okay.
I mean, there are some Mexicans who sound like that a little bit, but like Nacho Libre, it's very just stereotypical, very stereotypical. Like my dad still has an accent, but he doesn't sound like Speedy Gonzalez or like Nacho Libre.
They try so hard to forget their accents.
I know.
Mom's like, is my English good? Yes, Father, your English is good.
Oh my gosh, wait. He said, no one sounds like Speedy Gonzalez on Tree, where he goes, our accents is actually muy suave, which means like real smooth. He's so dumb. Goodness. My friend, we know who this guy is. He's, you know who you are. Yeah, good guy, but you're silly. Okay. Everyone knows Amor Interno. It's this like really popular Spanish song. So, okay, you know what mariachis are?
Yes.
Okay, so mariachis, this is probably like in the repertoire of like repertoire of songs that they would play, and like anytime you hear that song, like you just, I mean, I even know what that song is. It's like like it's very like famous. Anyways, yes. Okay. Got some more. Nice. Everyone talks loud. I don't know if that's a stereotype. I think that's so true. Blast music late at night. all the dads have beer belly.
Oh my gosh. There was no chill there.
My dad doesn't drink beer, but you know, he's got a little round. I love you, Dad. Women serve all the men. Their love language is food. All Latinos are Catholic. Oh wow, yeah, that's a big one because my dad was Catholic, but I didn't grow up Catholic. Like we grew up non-denominational.
Born again.
Yeah. The grandmother is a patriarch. Everyone speaks fluent Spanish. Very true, because my Spanish is not very good, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. They're good at landscaping, and they're good gardeners. Y'all, my brother said that one. Okay, I always put him on.
Funny. That one's so funny.
But that's kind of like, not to say it's true, but there are a lot of Hispanics who are, you see them doing construction.
Honestly, even in Beamsville, where I grew up, like it's a small little white town in Niagara Falls. In the summers, it's all Mexicans with the Latino. Even my sister knows how to speak Spanish because she works with a bunch of them, and she can only communicate that way.
Yeah,
I don't know. And she works at a fruit farm.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they bring them over during the summer and like the harvest seasons.
I mean, I will say, like,
they're hard workers.
Latinos are super hardworking, and there's not a job that, like, I mean, my dad himself has had. My dad was like a forklift driver at one point. Then he worked his way up to like be in, like, you know, at the top or whatever. But he had some, like, you know, like work. Like they just they needed to work, and it wasn't beneath them. And it's not really beneath them to take a certain job, you know? Okay, last one. What is up with dads? All dads wear wife beaters. Which, okay, I gotta put my friend on blast. I literally called him like right before we got on the call to ask him a question about this, and he literally was wearing a white tank top, and he's Mexican. Shout out to Adrian. Confirmed. I love you. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, that was a lot.
That's okay. I had quite a lot too.
Okay, here's her stereotypes on Middle Easterns.
Okay, so true stereotype, we never let other people pay. It's so true. Like we'll always fight in the restaurant.
Her boyfriend, oh my gosh.
I know. Always pays for my friends, or always like,
I'd be like
very sneaky about it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, stop.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Or like like one of the family members will pretend to go to the bathroom, but they're actually conversing with the server and giving them the credit card. So that by the time it's like ready to like pay, it's like, oh, it's already paid for.
I saw a reel like a couple weeks ago where it's like, I told you about this, where it's like Arab men are like, and then the video was the guy was like, he's like, I'll pay for your food, I'll pay for your car payment, I'll pay for your college. Like he was just like paying for everything.
They're so adamant on paying. It's because like it's a respect.
But like for everyone, or for just like women or something?
No, everyone. It's like a respect, and it's just like a way of us showing love to someone or to people.
Nice.
Yeah, we're nice people.
I need to hang out with more Middle Eastern, so I'm just kidding.
Another one is Iraqis have the shortest tempers. It's actually kind of true.
See, and that's very similar to Hispanics too. Like,
yeah, we have short tempers. I mean, like, okay, I'll tell you this. I was just a little sidetracked. I was, even though I'm a Syrian, when I got to the age of grade 7, my parents moved from we just moved to a very white small town in Niagara Falls. So I was actually very sheltered from my Assyrian culture. So I only grew up kind of with
like white people?
With white people, grade 7 onwards. When I was younger, I had a bunch of Assyrian friends because we lived in a metropolitan area where it was like a lot of Middle Easterns. But when we moved, it was all white people. So and on top of that, my parents weren't involved in the community or in our culture because they became like saved and like just really, my dad cut out a bunch of things. But I actually didn't go to an Assyrian wedding. My first Assyrian wedding wasn't actually till this past summer.
Really?
Ever. Well, I mean, I went to 2 when I first came to Canada, but I don't remember those. I was young. So the culture and the celebrations and even the dances and all the whole like tradition around what I am, I was actually very sheltered from it. So I didn't really know until I grew up. And then when I moved away for school, everyone there were all Arabs. You know, I just gravitated towards the Arabs and not the Assyrians. 100%. Yeah.
But then it was like a culture shock, but then maybe not that it wasn't, but maybe you had like some weird like internal like connection because it's part of you.
Yes, and it's just the language was there and stuff. But I connected more with the Arabs than I did with the Assyrians, you know? But
did you have like an identity crisis?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I feel like I've always had an identity crisis.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
It's a deeper podcast conversation.
I know. Is there a couch for me to lay on and just like
talk about my feelings? Right? Yeah. Let me just go to town on this.
So yeah, like when I say Middle Easterns, I grew up like I am Assyrian, but I was very sheltered from it, so I don't actually know as much as I should. And I feel like all my Assyrian friends and cousins right now are like, shame on you, but it wasn't my fault.
No.
Okay, cool. So
moving forward,
and it sucks because like the Assyrian tradition truly ended with my dad because I'm the oldest of 6, and none of us are gonna marry any Assyrians or Chaldeans. Like,
not even your siblings?
No.
How do you know?
I just know. I know my siblings. Like, yeah, no.
Okay.
Like, I'm
Lydia's really young.
No.
Okay. Her youngest sister. She has some. Maybe there's
She's
hope
13.
There.
Well, she likes Middle Easterns, but
Hi, Lydia. She's probably like, why are y'all talking about me?
I can't see any of us marrying any Assyrians or Chaldeans.
You know what's funny? Now that you're talking about that, my sister is married to someone who's primarily white, and then my brother is actually dating someone who's not Hispanic. Mm-hmm. So
we're like turned off, I think, by it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like my one sister's with an Italian. Like that's completely different. They don't speak the language in every way. For me, like it was important that I have a Middle Eastern, not Assyrian, because it's not that big of a deal. But Middle Eastern for me because like the language and the culture and the upbringing, you know?
Yeah.
So
no, it's a cultural I think I've always like I don't mind like my kind or like Latinos especially, but yeah.
No, my type is definitely Middle Eastern. Just I don't really care about the Syrian part. Don't hate me. Okay, next one is do you ride a camel to school?
What?
Okay. The next two are both terrorists.
Well, who actually rides a camel to school?
I know, but that's a stereotype that people ask.
You know what song just came to mind? Arabian Nights. So I love Aladdin.
That's anyway. Good. It's funny because that Aladdin guy is actually Egyptian.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. Okay, but he was...
And the people Egyptian. That said that do you ride a camel to school
he was Egyptian. That's funny. Yeah. We love Egyptians.
Yes, we love them. We love them so much. Okay. The next two were terrorists. One of them said, they say we beat our women. That's so...
Tell us how you really feel.
That's so savage, yeah. My cousin said, we all own liquor stores.
Oh my gosh.
But...
It's funny.
I will say...
That's like the landscaping comment.
It's kind of true. Yeah, there are some stereotypes where, like, they're a little too far-fetched, but there are some where it's just, like, it's a stereotype, but, like, we literally live it. And then another girl said, rich because we got oil, yet we live in tents and ride camels to school.
Again with the camels.
I know. Another one is being mistaken for being Muslim when we're all Christians.
But there's a lot Christians. I would say there's a lot of...
The majority of Middle Easterns are probably Muslim. Christians make a smaller... Yeah. A friend said being late, but honestly, like, he's an Egyptian, and I can tell you, Egyptians are notorious. Even Middle Easterns. I mean, the Middle Easterns in total, in like general, but I feel like specifically Egyptians.
But they run late.
They are late. But I'm very thankful for my boyfriend because he's very punctual, and it would drive me insane if he was late. You know my wrath.
Oh, yeah. She gets mad at me all the time because I'm late all the time.
I'm just like, I stay silent. I'm like...
Or she just, like, leaves, and I'm like, I'm almost ready.
Yeah. I'm like, by the door.
Yeah.
Top of the class grades. It's true. There's a lot of pressure to do well in school.
Yeah.
They're very loud. In brackets, well, this is true. At gatherings and in general, LOL. Someone else said bombs.
Oh, my gosh.
Someone else said always late. Loud, and then are you Muslim? Okay, so which of the few stereotypes that you listed do you feel like you relate to?
Let me see. I think I don't know about I relate to, but something that like was always like a constant theme that I think would always rub me the wrong way was so someone had said that like women serve all the men, and actually that's very much how it was. I'll give y'all an example. Like my mom, even, and a lot of my mom's sisters, like once they got married, like my grandma had kind of taught them, like this is just what they knew, that once you get married, like you are a devoted wife and you do domestic duties and you care and love your husband. And that's not to say that's all you do, but like that's like your main role in life now once you get married. So that comment is like kind of, it's true, because like growing up, when we would go over like for family gatherings, all the men would sit at the table and the women would go and serve plates for all the men, and the men would sit down and they would wait for the women to come and like serve the plates.
All the women would gather in the kitchen and
exactly.
talk while they're doing things. Exactly. This is literally our culture too.
Yes. And so for me growing up, just to kind of give like an example of like my personality, I've softened up a little bit over these last several years, but like I was very like, I hate to use the word, there goes a thumbs up.
No, whatever.
I hate to use the word feminist, but I was very like female power, you know, I don't need a man, and a man doesn't need to expect everything from me, blah, 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 whatever. And so like it would bother me. It would like rub me the wrong way whenever I would see the men literally just go and sit down and be on the couch or watching TV, and the women are all in the kitchen like sweating, and like trying to like, oh my gosh, like we have to like, you know, serve them, and then they would get served last because the men are just sitting there eating their food. Now I'm not saying like in my future, like will I serve, you know, if I get married, like will I serve my husband? Sure, but like I'm not. He also he also should not just go sit. He should also not just go sit down and just be waiting there and expecting and being like, where's my tacos?
Bell.
Oh my gosh. If he has a bell, I am throwing that bell right back at him, boy. But yeah, so like
it's hilarious.
Yeah, so that's something that really like bothered me. And I think though now, like culturally, that's just kind of how it was. Like, not to say like that doesn't happen now, because like my mom still will serve my dad, but I think there's like a little bit more like mutual respect on both ends. And like for instance, I look at my sister and my brother-in-law, and although like he's not like really fully Hispanic, he'll do it for her, you know, so it's not just like her always like tending to him or whatever. So yeah,
I feel like that's very similar in our culture. But I feel like when I was younger, it used to be a lot like that, where my mom was doing a lot of the work, and like my dad was like chilling, and like even when we had guests over, my dad was in charge of like entertaining the guests in the living room, while my mom was like taking care of all the back work, you know, and even the cleanup and putting everything away. But I feel like maybe in the last 10 years there's been not a shift, but there's been more contribution on my dad's side, because it does get tiring. Like I don't know. I feel like, especially now with women working, because my mom also works.
Same here, my mom too.
But the transition from like not working to working was like a point in the relationship. But she eventually worked, you know. So it's like she has a job outside the home, multiple jobs with clients, and then she comes home to 6 kids, 4 animals, 4 pets, like, and then on top of that, she has to do all the housework. So there has to be some sort of like we work together as a team.
Exactly.
But even like with the gender roles, I guess we can say that.
Yeah.
Like even for me, like growing up, like I said, I'm the oldest of 6. Like even I'm 28 and my brother he just turned 25. I'm turning 29 this year. So 4-year difference, but there'll still be things that he's allowed to do. If I was to go home right now, there'll be things that he's allowed to do, taking he's 4 years younger, that he's allowed to do that I wouldn't be allowed to do. You know, like
that's the same.
He can come home at a certain time, and if I had come home at that time, all hell would like on this, you know. Another thing would be like they don't ask questions about where he goes. My brother Elijah, like he is allowed to like go hang out and see his friends every single day, literally. And I remember when I was his age, my parents were like, what do you mean you just saw your friends? And it was like 2 months ago.
We'd have to like
they remind you.
We'd have to like beg. I remember my sister and I would like rehearse how we would like ask
100%.
How we would ask our parents to like go hang out. I don't know if this is the same for Middle Eastern, but like for Latinos especially, like they wouldn't let us go hang out at friends' houses.
Never.
We would never spend the night. And then
sleepovers were not a thing.
Sleepovers were not a thing. And maybe with like primos, like cousins, for sure. Well, not everybody, but there were some. But like, especially when it comes to friends, my dad would be like, who's this? Like, who you hanging out with? You don't go. Why do you need to sleep over there? You have a house here. Like, you know. Like,
no, I'd be like, friends are like, why do you need friends?
Why do you need friends?
Yeah, that's literally what my parents say. Why do you need friends? Why do you have friends? I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I don't know. Like, we live in a society where friends are important.
That's funny. Okay, I know. I never got that comment. It was just more like, why do you need to go over there? You have a bed at home. You don't need to be going and sleeping over at someone else's house.
Your mom was raised in Texas though, right?
Yeah.
In America. See, my parents came to the country in 1998. End of 1998. So I was like, it felt like at home I was living in Iraq, literally, with those rules. Yeah. But then I would go to school and I was living in like Western society. So I always felt like I had these two sides to me. Two worlds. And I always tried to balance between the two and be like, how do I make my parents happy or keep them happy? And how do I like, I want to be like my friends. Like, I want to go out and do fun things. I want to go to the movies. Like, I want to have sleepovers. Even like sports. Like, I remember it was such a hard time with like, I played basketball. I know.
You did?
Up until grade 8.
We love basketball. I just never thought that we played. No, she did apparently.
Up until grade 8. And then I got to high school. I saw how tall everyone else is. I was like, I'm not going to
You're like, I don't think this is a sport for me.
So basketball,
I played soccer. That's so stereotypical for Hispanic to play soccer.
It's fine. True. Because they're good at it.
Yeah, we are. Shout out to Messi and Ronaldo.
But yeah, basketball, volleyball, but I wanted to like play more competitively and like be
that is
teams
so
outside.
Funny.
And they wouldn't.
I'm trying to imagine me playing basketball.
I know. I was actually not that bad.
Ooh, playoffs are happening. Go Mavs.
I know. Raptors are out. I'm actually going to my first Lakers game on Saturday.
Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. Not that I want to go to a Lakers game. I would love to see a Lakers Mavs game though. Ooh,
I'm thinking of wearing my Raptors jersey to it.
She should. You should. I just want to see all the looks that you'll get.
I need to convert you. I was like, no.
You're like, nah, it's happening. There's so many Lakers fans here. It's disgusting. I'm just kidding.
You're like, I can't help it.
We're in LA or we're in California, Southern California. Anyway.
But yes, so just a lot of rules that were passed along to the girls, but not implemented for the guys. Yeah. Expectations, like even my brothers now, like, they don't clean. They don't help around the house. Literally, like my sister Christina, like she takes on everything. Like power girl,
Power Coast girl.
But it's also and she loves the color pink, I think. Oh. But yeah, I don't know.
No, I agree with that. Same thing. I won't go into like super detail because you pretty much said everything. But my brother, I love the guy, but yes, it was very different because, as my dad would say, he's the boy, he's the youngest, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, that's not fair. For me, it was always about justice and like, if this person gets to do this, how come I don't get to do that? Or like, like, let's treat everyone equal. Well, you're not equal because you're not a boy. What does that mean?
For me, it was the cooking.
Oh yeah. See, and
I hated the cooking part and the expectation.
I didn't have to do too much.
I hated cooking growing up.
That's probably why I can't cook now, though.
Yeah, exactly. I hated the cooking growing up because it was so expected of me as a girl. And it's just like, it was like frowned upon that I was focusing more on furthering my education and even my MBA rather than like getting married. Do you see that? Okay. Yeah. Getting married and like having kids and having a family. At the age of 28, 29 in the Middle Eastern culture, everyone's like, so do you have plans to get married soon?
Oh, I'm so just annoying.
Like, yeah, it's on the agenda, but not a list of priorities right now. Like,
yeah,
no, I think that's another thing. They have different expectations of girls and guys.
Yeah, that's very similar to Latinos. So yeah, like again, similarities for sure. Okay, let me think of another one. Okay. I think maybe have like just like two more.
Yeah, go ahead.
So everyone speaks fluent Spanish. So kind of like I shared earlier, my mom, she would be considered as like a Chicana, like her whole side of the family, and I spent a lot of time, I guess, with both, but I was a little more closer to my mom's side, and so everyone spoke English pretty much. So growing up, even though my dad's first language is Spanish, and actually my mom's first language is kind of a mix of both, me and my siblings didn't speak Spanish fluently, and I went to a predominantly Hispanic and Black school. So for me, it was always like people would minimize my Hispanicness because I didn't speak fluent Spanish. And then also some of the girls in school, they wouldn't be mean or anything like that, but like I would be less than because I was lighter skinned. My sister, for example, she has green eyes. She has lighter hair than me. Like I'm the one who looks the most like Mexican or Hispanic. But like my sister has like light brown hair, she has green eyes, like hazel eyes. My brother has blue eyes and light brown hair. So for them especially, they would be treated a little bit different. People would think that they were white, and so people would minimize their like Latino-ness. And then this is like even on my dad's side of the family, I have cousins who would make fun of me and even still make jokes. I love y'all, but some of y'all just be coming for me all the time. Where they make jokes and they would, they're constantly saying that like, oh, well, do you know how to say this? Or, oh, you don't know this but honestly, like, it's just like, it wasn't my fault that like, I'm not trying to put blame on my parents, but like, we just didn't speak Spanish as fluently in the house. Like, sure, I know like phrases and stuff like that, but like, because we spent a lot of time with my mom's side of the family, we spoke Spanglish. We didn't, And so if anyone has seen I'm going back to like Selena, the movie. If you've ever seen the movie, that's very, very similar to like the culture that I was born in. There's like a scene in the movie where she does like a whole tour in Mexico, and she's becoming more fluent in Spanish, but she's trying to think of a word during an interview, and someone's like, how do you feel about the tour or whatever? And she's like, me siento muy, I feel very, and then she says excited. She can't think of the word to say in Spanish.
So she's in English?
Yes, she says, I me siento muy excited, and then everyone just kind of laughs. That's literally was my life. It was like trying to mix words, and I'm very proud of my culture and heritage. But that's like one part where it's like people will minimize my Latinness or whatever because I don't speak fluent Spanish. And you know what? A lot of the people who have minimized it, they're actually some of my family members. It's not even like, maybe there were some people at school growing up, but like a lot of it was actually my family. So it's just kind of interesting, right? Where it's like, wow, like my own kind, not that they're rejecting me. I never felt rejected. I feel like especially Latinos are very loving and like very kind. But yeah, there was some of that where I was like, wow, like it made me feel less than, and then I look the way that I do I feel like I look very like Hispanic, but like, I don't know.
I feel like because I have so many cousins, like my mom's youngest of 11. My
mom's the youngest of 12 or
That's
youngest
crazy.
girl. Your dad's side?
Yeah, my dad's one of 4.
My dad's one of 7, I think.
But there's so many on both sides, and I feel like if I was in contact with them, I would be in that position too, where they would minimize me and where I came from because I'm not so familiar with the Assyrian or Chaldean culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of mean.
Yeah, but I think that's just a misconception or like a stereotype is that everyone speaks Spanish, and I'm not, and I do speak some Spanish. I'm not a fluent speaker, but that doesn't mean that I love my culture less. Like I'm very big like on my culture, and I think probably out of a lot of or my siblings, and they love their culture too. But like, yeah, I'm like very big on like I'm very proud to like be who I am, and yeah, it's great. Nice. So, yeah,
I think for me would be terrorist.
Oh, the stereotype.
100%. Like I remember, like I said, like I grew up in Hamilton, which is like very a lot of Middle Easterns and a lot of Assyrians and Chaldeans that I were friends with. And I had these 2 girls that were my best friends, and they were twins, and they lived in the same complex as we did, and they were Chaldeans. And then we had another girl in our group, and she was also Assyrian, I think. So we were like a good group, and we did everything together up until I moved in grade 7. So
was it far? Like you couldn't see them anymore?
Yeah, I was like 40 minutes away.
Oh, okay.
It felt like forever, like a huge distance. Because when you're young, like you don't drive, you don't have Facebook,
right?
Nothing,
you don't know you don't have the perception of like
exactly.
Space.
So it was just like it felt like it was goodbye forever. So we ended up moving to, like I said, Niagara Falls, a very small white town. So the whole 2001 thing, I remember I was in school in Hamilton, and I remember people calling terrorists and stuff, and man, it didn't hurt that much because there were other Middle Easterns around, so I didn't feel like it was specifically targeted to me. But when I moved to this new town, we were like the only Middle Easterns there.
Really?
There was no other Middle Eastern. And like my name was like weird to people, like Dumiana. So for the majority of like grade 7 through grade 12, even like a few years of college, but actually just majority of like grade 7 through grade 12, I was really bullied. And one of the big things was like the whole terrorism thing.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's funny because shortly after we moved there, my uncle moved there a few years after. And of course, he saw an amazing business opportunity to open a pizza and shawarma store. Yes, and it killed it. Everyone knew who, like, Family Pizza and Shawarma. It was really good. People from outside cities would come and drive in. But of course, I had to work at the Family Pizza and Shawarma. So it's just like the typical, like,
right.
You know? But yeah, I got really bullied with like the whole terrorist and Middle Eastern. And for the longest time, I used to like hate being Middle Eastern. And it wasn't until I moved away for university then I like gravitated towards the Middle Easterns naturally, because like I could speak a different language and not have anyone else around me understand, you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's part of who you are. Like,
100%.
I think like the older that I've gotten, I've appreciated even more. I don't know that I've ever felt like ashamed per se, but like, yeah, like I just appreciated more. And like, especially like thinking of like my grandmas. I think someone had said that like grandmas are like the patriarch of the family, which is so true. Like grandmas are like the queens, and my grandmas, I love them both so much. And my mom's mom specifically, like we would write letters to each other, and just very like, wait, what did you say? What was the last thing that you said?
What?
Appreciate, or like just like appreciating the culture. But yeah, it just like makes me more appreciative like being older now of like where the history of where our people have come from, how hard they work. Like I think of how hard like my own dad specifically, and that's my dad. I know your dad has worked really hard too. Like we're just very hard. I think both Middle Easterns too are very hardworking people, and it just makes me proud.
Yeah,
it like makes me proud.
I wish I knew this though. I wish I had
when
this,
we were
like,
younger. Yeah,
I wish I had this like
appreciation
and pride of like where I came from in my story behind like even being a Syrian, being from Iraq, like being Chaldean, you know. But when you're so young and everyone's just pointing at you and be like terrorist, and you're like,
yeah, that's so hard.
Yeah, but
well, and then also it's different too because I grew up in Texas. There's a lot of Hispanics there, a lot of Mexicans there, so it's easy for me to appreciate a value because I'm surrounded by it. Versus you, it's like if you were in a predominantly white,
it was outcast.
Yeah,
it was an outcast. Yeah, but
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's okay.
No, that's rough. Like that's hard.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Wow.
But anyway, so that's like one thing, the terrorist thing, and yeah.
What else? Wait, can we talk about this one? Last one.
Which one?
Well, so someone had said like all Latinos are Catholic. So my dad was Catholic. When he moved to the States, him and my some of his family members, they started going to like a Baptist church, I think. And so I guess I don't want to use the word like converted, but like, yeah, like they switched over and like, were born again, all that kind of stuff. And so I was primarily in that. And so but a lot of people will assume that I'm Catholic or that I follow Catholic principles. And what's funny is I never went to a Catholic church growing up. I think the only time that I would go to a Catholic church as a kid was when someone was getting married. So like when one of my cousins was getting married and they're Catholic, we would go to the church. And it was just funny because like, I don't know if you've ever been to a Catholic service, but there's a lot of like kneeling and like you sometimes I think you have to go around and like pray to the saints or whatever. And we were so like, me and my siblings were always so lost because we didn't know what those like traditions were, like what those things were. And so anyways, no hate to like any Catholics or anything like that at all. I have family members who are Catholic. But yeah, that's a stereotype that it's like, for me, that wasn't true for me. I didn't grow up Catholic, but a lot of people assume that like, that I'm Catholic.
That's like Middle Eastern. It's like, are you Muslim?
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, I'm not Muslim. Like, okay, so are you Catholic? Are you Orthodox? Because Assyrians by nature are like Orthodox and Chaldeans are predominantly Catholic. And even though my parents were born into those religions, and they practiced it and they called themselves Catholics or Orthodox, it was more so like acts rather than a change of heart. And so one step further is like my dad became saved. Like he converted to true Christianity. And not to say Catholicism or Orthodox isn't true Christianity, but
it's just a different way of believing the story of
I mean, if
Jesus.
you heard all the details of my dad's story, you wouldn't think that he was a Christian. His lifestyle, even if you identify as Catholic and Orthodox, or if you identify even as Christian, if your lifestyle doesn't show it, it doesn't mean anything. So when I say he became saved, I mean he dedicated his life to Christ and follows the Bible as his source of truth. But yeah, because then now people in our culture, like even Assyrians and Chaldeans, like when we meet, they're like, "Oh, so do you go to like the Assyrian church or the Chaldean church?" And we're like, "No, we go to like a Christian church, whatever." And they call like they'll mimic us and be like, "Oh, like you guys are Injilin, like you guys are evangelists," but they mean it in like a mean way because they don't. I don't know. There's
they just don't
connotation around not sticking to tradition because religion is tradition, you know. But true Christianity is a lifestyle, a daily effort. It doesn't matter how many rosaries you pray, and if it doesn't say in the Bible for me to pray to Mary, I'm not gonna go sit and pray for Mary. Like, there's just so many things about different religions that my parents didn't take seriously, and it wasn't something that they implemented in their life. But yeah, so not only am I not Muslim, but I'm also not Catholic or Orthodox. So it's just like 2 tiers of like explaining to people that I'm like not what I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. There was something else I was going to say about that. Oh, not on the same topic. I don't know if I told you. One of my grandpas, he used to be Jehovah's Witness.
What?
Yeah. But this was like my mom was very like when I knew my
like
grandpa,
your mom's dad?
My mom's dad, he was Jehovah's Witness. Well, okay, but like I want to say like whenever I don't even know. I have to ask my mom. Like he was a Jehovah's Witness. I think maybe in his I think once he got married, maybe.
That's crazy.
And they got married really young. But yeah, so he was a Jehovah's Witness.
That's serious.
So I'm just like that's crazy because we do. I mean, I have no connection to Jehovah's Witnesses or anything like that. But my grandpa like grew up in that, so it's very interesting. And my grandpa was actually Cherokee and Mexican descent. I think his dad was from Mexico. Anyway, cool, yeah, history. My grandpa. But yeah, it's very interesting.
All right. Favorite food?
Oh yes, wait, speed. So okay, wait, explain what we're doing.
You explain.
Okay. So we did like a speed round on another podcast episode, and I was like, ooh, we should do a speed round for like this and like just talk about like our favorite things in our culture. So speed round.
Okay. Favorite
food. Okay, this is gonna sound so like wow, really, but like tacos. Yum, I love tacos. So good. You can never go wrong with tacos, okay? Like tacos are so good. Like you can get chicken, beef, pork, like oh my gosh, they're endless. So
short ribs.
Yeah.
I just know them all from the taco truck now.
I'm hungry. It's taco truck. Okay. Wait, what about you?
It's so hard to pick, but I think I would have to say kuppet musil, which is like I know.
Kuppa like, what?
Kuppet musil.
Kubba. So it's like it's a Cuba.
And then Musil, which is actually like a city in or village. I don't know.
So what is it?
It is like minced meat in this grain. It's like minced meat inside of this like grain covering, and it's deep fried. It's so good. I probably didn't explain it that well, but
no, it sounds good.
I suck in the kitchen.
I'm also really hungry.
I know.
Oh wait, one more that I want to say too is like pan dulce, sweetbread. Oh my gosh, it's so good. There's honestly so many things that are not good, but they taste good. So delicious. Okay, what's the next question?
How do people in your culture greet?
How do they greet? Hispanics are very, or like Latinos are very just like I want to say huggy people, not touchy. Yeah, touchy. Like if you okay, for instance, like growing up, we would have to go and give a hug to every single person who was in the room. We'll give them a hug, even if I didn't know them. I'd be like, hi, or like whatever. But yeah, very like we'll give you a hug, loving. We probably like I remember growing up like going around and giving like all my aunts and like cousins who were girls like kiss on the cheek. Yeah, very like that.
Yeah, Ours
and even
is,
to not strangers, but like just being very polite and just being like, oh, hi, like very loving on really anyone.
But that makes us stand out.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. Yeah, ours is pretty similar. Like, definitely kisses on the cheek, like 1, 2. So I know Egyptians do 2, Iraqis do 3.
3.
I always like this, like.
Wow, that's a lot. I'm like, have whiplash from all the kisses. No, I'm just kidding.
But what's funny is like I always try to avoid the grandma in the group or in the circle, because like she'll like make out with your one cheek. It's like,
ew.
Yeah, but they're showing you love. But she's like, oh my gosh, kissing your neck or your cheek.
I have a story. My grandma Estrada. Oh my gosh, I love her, but like her hugs were so aggressive. Like she would hug us and be like, "Hi, Mija." No, seriously, my brother would be like, because was the youngest, and we would go and he would be like almost afraid to go get hugged by my grandma because she would be so like, come here.
Yeah, the grandmas, even in our culture, they love the boys much more. Like my grandma used to gift my brother more money on Christmas and like Easter and stuff, even though I'm the oldest.
No way.
Yes.
All right. That's unfair.
Favorite artist?
The older that I've gone really into like Latin music. Mm-hmm. I would say though, like my favorite, Selena, because I grew up with, she's where my mom is from. Mm-hmm. We grew up with that, especially in Texas. There's an artist named Camilo. I mean, I could go on, like the list goes on and on, but I would stick with those 2. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of artists I love. Hispanic music, like Latin music's just so fun. I don't think there's not one person that I feel like they don't like Latin music because it's just a vibe. What about you?
For me, I don't know any Assyrian, honestly, artists. I don't listen to Assyrian music. But for Arabic, like I love Nancy Eshram, and she's Lebanese.
Is that the girl that I've been listening to? Yes. Oh my gosh, I was listening to her stuff. I was like, I like this.
She's so good.
I did. I was listening to it the other day.
I know.
I was listening
to
the podcast.
She's so good.
Oh wait, but an old school person too, like my Mexican friends will know, like Juan Gabriel is like really, like I think he's from Monterrey. My parents really like him, and there's some songs that like, or there's like Vicente Fernandez. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so many of them, but yeah. Oh my gosh, Shakira.
Oh, Shakira's so good. Shakira. I even love her.
I love Shakira.
See, she's half Colombian,
she's half
Lebanese.
Oh, she is half Lebanese. That's why she knows
such a good mix.
She knows the belly dancing.
She's a good mix. Okay, maybe we'll do one more. What is funny phrases?
Funny phrases. Okay, so something that like my tias or like my mom would say like growing up was huerca. They'd be like, esta huerca. Or they would say to like my other cousins, like, esta huerco. Huerca. So I had to like it's so funny because I literally called like a couple people and everyone said something different about what the word really meant. But huerca or huerco is just kind of like punk, like basically it's not like a negative word, but like this like person, which could not really like a little kid, but like a teenager. Yes, immature, like, oh, you're getting on my nerves, like the headache, like, ay, this huerca, you know? So yeah, I would hear that a lot. I actually have an aunt who like but it's so funny, like we almost like bother her just so she can say it. She'd be like,
I just want to trigger her.
Yeah, that maybe not a funny phrase, but like my sister even still says this today, like anytime okay, so the word is mande, like what was that, like, and it's just like so many people in my family say it, like mande, you know. And I really like claro que sí, which is like, of course. Like, claro que sí.
So elegant.
I know, claro que sí. There's just so many Spanish phrases like, ay, qué rico, or like, I don't know. They're just like fun. So
for me, I'm trying to remember, not trying. It's very easy for me to remember all the times I got in trouble when I was younger.
Same. We're troublemakers.
Literally. But because I grew up with my mom speaking Arabic to me. And I grew up with my dad speaking Aramaic, like Assyrian to me. So one funny thing with Arabic is like when my mom used to be like pissed, she'd be like, Allah yastar, like God forbid. But like as in like God forbid what I'm gonna do to you. Like,
oh my gosh.
And then an Assyrian one would be like, this is so messed up, I'm just gonna say it. What? I called my dad before this and he's like, That's not godly. I was like, I'm still gonna say it.
But you would say it, or they would say it?
Well, I mean, like
your family.
Yeah, when we were younger, they were like mad, but I feel like they don't speak to us like this anymore. Society has changed them. But an Assyrian one is qutma breshach or qutma breshach, and qutma breshach basically is like, it's so messed up. It's like ashes on your head.
What? Oh my gosh. That is so weird.
But it's like something that like you would say, or like even, it's funny because my friends would know this. Like when I'm pissed, I'd be like, "Qutma breshach," like.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, last one I just thought of. Why didn't I think about this? Okay, so like anytime someone's sick, or like, okay, say for instance, like I fell on a hip, I hurt myself. My mom would say this should be like sana sana colita red. Colita de rana. Like I don't even know, what does sana sana mean? Like sana sana, but colita de rana literally means like tail of a frog, or like butt of a frog.
What the heck?
So it's like sana sana colita de rana. Oh, my dad would always, oh my gosh, y'all, people who know Spanish, like my dad would be like, or my uncles, cousins, they'd be like, sana sana colita de rana, echa un pedo para hoy y mañana. Fart today and tomorrow.
What the heck?
Wait, have a verb for today or tomorrow, something. I forget how to translate exactly, but that's literally, but like anytime someone's sick or you have like a boo-boo or whatever, be like, ah, sana,
like say
sana,
to it.
yeah, sana sana culita de rana, and it's like, it's so stupid. Like, what?
There's so many things that people say in Arabic that if you were to translate it in English, it just sounds like
it sounds
weird. So weird. Like,
but it didn't sound weird.
Abu Rasi, like,
what does that mean?
Ayani, like from my eyes, like. Anytime you ask someone for a favor, if you were to ask me for a favor, I'm like, ayani, like with my eyes, like it's so weird. See, it doesn't translate.
I know, but I guess,
like,
but in the language,
it makes sense,
great.
And it's like a nice thing to say, like my pleasure with my eyes, I'll give it to you. Like
how
so
interesting. Yeah, languages are cool.
I feel like English though does a terrible job at it doesn't have words to properly translate a lot of the things that we speak in our language, which are actually really beautiful and poetic sometimes, but the English language
that's true.
It can't keep up.
Yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, for your language and probably for mine, like, oh, it just sounds so much better. Like, I especially to like, you know, Spanish is such a romantic.
English is white. Wow, English is cold.
Whoa, no.
English is cold.
No, but like, yeah, it's like, oh, saying it in Spanish just sounds more like, people always talk about like, oh, Spanish is such a romantic, pretty language, and it's like just saying it in Spanish. You could literally say something so stupid in Spanish, but it just sounds better. Or some things that actually translate so poetic, more poetically.
Even Arabic love songs, like the best, like the concepts and like the poetry behind, and it's just like you feel for the person singing, you know, because like just the way that the forms and the concepts are formed.
That's so true.
But you can't translate it in English,
right? Just be like, I think you're great, but then in like the language, it's like the breath of your lungs and blah blah. I don't know, whatever.
From the depths of my soul.
That's so weird. Wait, maybe we're singing the same song.
No, we just made that up on spot.
Anyway, that was fun. I wonder if we missed any stereotypes or any like fun things that you're like, oh my gosh, like I totally resonate with that. Let us know, because we're curious.
Hope I didn't piss off any Assyrians out there.
No,
or Chaldeans.
No.
But yeah, you missed this part of history. You should have said it.
Nah.
I'm sorry.
But shout out to all of our Middle Easterns and Latinos. We love you all, and we're so proud to be what we are. So yeah. I don't know what we're gonna talk about next week.
We'll pray about it.
We'll pray about it. We'll figure it out.
Honestly, we've been going through a lot the past few weeks. So
April has honestly been so busy. It's been a very busy month.
God's testing us for sure.
God's been testing us. It's also been good, but it's also been a lot.
Yes.
So,
but we will prevail.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Enjoy your week.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Bye.